don't take losing very well, but I would be remiss to talk about a lost football game, on a day like today, September 11th, when, I think it's always important for us to recognize the 2,977 lives that were lost on this day. I remember that day vividly where I was, and at the time with the Green Bay Packers and game planning for the New York Giants. We're getting ready to go to New York that week and play those guys, and that those events took place and changed America forever. And so it kind of puts things in perspective for me, on today about how I feel about a football game. Falls very, very short of the events that took place on 9/11. So I just want to make sure that I take this time to show respect to those families, people who have lost lives during that time and still mourning the loss of their loved ones, and make sure that they know that Coach Drayton and Temple Owls are praying for them. What I learned from the game after watching that film, it's tough. We were very intentional in our preparation leading up to that game. I thought our players had a really good week of practice. I felt that they were ready. Okay. Quite honestly, we just need to put ourselves in better position to execute the way we're capable of executing. It was an execution problem. I do also believe that, Temple beat Temple in a lot of respects. I don't think that we as a football team, when adversity hit, handled our emotions very well. Something that was therapy for me is walking in here yesterday and had a chance to meet with our single digits and our leadership council, and ironically, their pain of the loss and the disappointment that they had in their performance was therapy for me. I'm coaching a bunch of guys who want to win, and what our football team needs to learn is they want to win so bad, they need to hate losing a little bit more. They got to hate losing more than they hate, and more than they love winning. Excuse me. And what I mean by that is going out there and doing their job better, executing all the time on a more consistent basis. And that is something that we have addressed. We're self-reflecting on that, and woke up this morning, stood in front of that football team, and they're ready to flush it and move on. So those are all positive signs from a mental standpoint that we're going to grow and build from. And I'm excited to see what this team, how they're going to respond off of this loss. So I know you guys have questions, as you always do. So let's address them.
So Akron and Rutgers, they're different teams, but that game a week and a half ago, you guys physically dominated that second half, and it sure seemed like Saturday night watching that, at least in the fourth quarter, Rutgers kind of physically dominated that fourth quarter outside of the skill. Does that physical, does that show up? It shows up in the fourth quarter? That's when you're going to see that kind of go one way or the other?
I hope not moving forward, right? Again, giving credit to Rutgers, they kind of stay within their personality, who they are as a football team. They're very big up front. I thought that from a size standpoint, their tackles and our defensive ends gave us some physical issues as the game worn down in the fourth quarter. And just leading up to the fourth quarter, I thought our defense played extremely well, and one thing I can say about that running back, guys, you guys are looking at you guys saw a future NFL back. I mean, a guy that plays on contacts, but the one thing that was impressive about him is when we missed our gap fits on defense, he found it. I mean, he found it. If it was C gap and he was going to the left, he found that C gap to the right. It was just a hell of a player. And again, credit to Rutgers and that running back finding those ways to exploit our mistakes. I can't take that away from them. But when we hit our gaps, you know, and everybody was on the same page. There were times where Rutgers was struggling to run the football against that defense, our Temple defense, and we just got to find a way to be more consistent in doing that all the time, you know, and especially in the fourth quarter, right? I thought our defense played 3 quarters of football. Last week I thought we played 2 quarters, you know. I'm hoping that we can continue the trajectory the right way. Obviously we want the result to be in our favor, you know, but we'll be remiss not to learn from some of the mistakes that we made moving forward, because if we don't fix them now, they'll show up again and put us in tough spots. So offensively, you know, you get 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. You know, what is that a result of? Well, we had one, you know, that would have been a good catch, but it was a manageable catch, you know, that was dropped and for an interception. You know, Rutgers gets the ball and scores, all right? Then we throw another interception in the fourth quarter. Rutgers takes the ball and score, right? And, you know, what does that tribute to it? You know, tributes to guys pressing, trying to make plays. You know, our quarterback's very, very competitive. I thought that there were times where he may have pressed it, trying to make a play. And, you know, but it also, you know, you have to look at our wide receivers. You know, we got to make those tough plays in those situations. We got to run the right routes in those situations. We got to have the timing on point in those situations. And so, as we grow and mature together, I know that that's going to get better. We're going to have our head clear and we're going to make those plays. And, you know, but boy, did we learn a hard lesson when we don't do it right. You know what happens to us. So we got to swallow that pill. It don't feel good, you know, but we'll live and we'll learn from that.
Stan, on Saturday after the game, Jordan talked about, he was asked about how he plays much in the second half. Did Chris and Everett and you see something different where you just tried different rotation with linebackers just to switch things up when you look back at the film there and to mix some different players in? What went into that?
No, you know, the one thing that we had from game 1 is those guys played a lot of football, right? And we still have a lot of the football season left for us. And, you know, I don't believe that they can play as much as they have been playing from game 1 and continue that play load and still be ready for us on the back end of the season. So we have to play our depth chart. We have to play those young guys to keep this team going at the level that we want them to go, and those guys have to develop and elevate their level of play. So it wasn't a matter of them doing anything right or wrong. As a matter of fact, Jordan McGee played lights out. He had a really good game, you know, but it's the Corey Yeomans and the DJs of the world that, you know, at some point their number's going to be called, and they got to step up in those situations and play for us. And we wouldn't put them out there if we didn't think that they could help us win. They prepared and earned that right to be out on the football field, and, you know, and we're in the business of giving them what they deserve and what they've earned.
You know, as far as EJ, you know, so much of his success late last year, the conversation was his pre-snap reads, right? He knew what he was doing before the ball was snapped. Is in these first 2 games, is he not being able to read that as much? Is that partly why, you know?
No, you know, I think EJ is going to do what's coach, you know, 99% of the time, you know, and, you know, sometimes, you know, he studies the game so much and, you know, he wants to win so much that he'll make adjustments on the line of scrimmage from a protection standpoint, from a route standpoint, you know, that may be advantageous for us to keep us on schedule. But I think there was times where he tried to do that against Rutgers where the timing wasn't quite right or didn't need to, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes he looks out the defense and sees a matchup issue, right? That's advantageous for us, and he may take that shot, you know what I mean? But, you know, for the most part, he plays within the system, you know. A couple times against Rutgers, we don't hold it against him. We know he's a competitor where he didn't, and it hurt us, and I think those are things that he'll learn, you know. We got to remember he's a true sophomore, you know, who played lights out last year, and you know, we expect him to be competitive for us and put us in the right situations, but you know, there are times where we got to, you know, reel him in and make him understand, you know, how to stay on schedule the proper way. And I think that he'll learn from this game, You know, he's got the right mindset going into this next game, and you know, we'll figure it out with him for sure.
With Ian Stewart, he came back this past week but didn't really get a lot of playing time. Is that more of a physical thing lingering from the previous week, or is that more just
We had
confident?
we had a hiccup in pregame warm up, unfortunately. You know, he was warming up and felt a little tweak there. You know, his body's been compensating from all of his different injuries, and you know, he's had a bad strand of luck with that. But pregame something kind of tweaked on him differently, and you know, we had him ready to play, and it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to. You know, but we'll figure it out.
Stan, watching more film with Jaquez Smith, what did you? I mean, it's kind of evident to see that he popped on Saturday night, but looking on film, what did you see specifically, and do you think he'll get more?
Very decisive runner. You know, tough to tackle. You know, there was times where, you know, he gained yards, kept us on schedule when there was a backer in the hole that just couldn't put their pads on him. You know, so, you know, we're definitely going to continue to elevate his reps. You know, I think he's created some healthy competition in that room right now. You know, and you know, credit to Sadie and Hubbard and EJ. Those guys are rallied behind Joquez. They want to win. So Joquez is going to put the production out there to help us win. I mean, I think we're all going to be pretty satisfied with that. So he's going to play more. You know, he does have some weaknesses, you know, that those other guys feel for him. So they're going to play for us a whole lot, you know, and he's going to need them to be ready to go. But moving forward, he's going to touch the ball quite a bit for us.
Did you know early last week that maybe, right, because he was in, I think, third series, that he was, because EJ had played the first game of was it early in the plan last week?
We knew in fall camp that he was going to be a good football player for us. You know, obviously there were some little knick-knack injuries that took place during fall camp, and we didn't do a whole lot of live situations, so we still had some unknowns about how he was going to handle the stage, handle the contact, and things of that sort. And you know, it took him a little bit to learn the system. You know, but you know, we feel that he's game ready in regards to learning the system, and got a little taste of it against Akron. Realized that, hey, this guy's not flinching out there. You know, so it's just a matter of time that, you know, his number is going to be called to see what he can do. And again, you know, I put him out there with the intent to win football game, and he proved that he can keep us in position to do that.
Is there any degree to which, you know, he can, right, he's not a big back, he can hide behind, I don't know, you maybe had personal experience, can you hide behind blockers, can he hide behind blockers?
He's tough to see now. You know, I love standing next to Joquez, you know, because I'm taller than him, you know what I mean? You know, I love standing next to him, so, you know, they said that I was hard to see as a back, so he's got to be really hard to see. And then he's on you, he's got this change of direction, you know, makes it really tough for defenders to put their pads on him. You know, but no, he's a very decisive back. He's disciplined in the backfield. He has good tempo. He's going to be a good player for Temple, excuse me.
With the run game, what are things that Donovan and Ed are struggling with in the first 2 weeks running the football?
Well, you know, just we need those guys to be physical runners. I mean, again, look at Rutgers running back, right? There's times we had him bottled up in the backfield for a TFL, and just he's a heavy runner. You know, not a big guy, but a strong, heavy runner who gets behind his pads and finds a way to fight even on contact with 3 to 4 more yards. And, you know, those are the things we expect out of bigger backs, you know, Sadie and Hubbard and EJ both. And we know that they've shown us that, but we need that to show up now, right? And so that's the challenge for those guys, is to make sure that they know who they are, play within who they are physically, and bring that to the table all the time, you know. So that's something that we're working on.
Stan, what did you see on film as you looked at the left side of the line with Luke getting his first start at left tackle?
You know,
and then Jackson next to him?
Yeah, solid. You know, there are times when they play really well, but you know, we're living with some mistakes as well. You know, did I feel like they got overpowered? I don't feel like they got overpowered against Rutgers, you know, which is a really good sign. And I know that the ceiling is still very high for those two. One thing about Jackson Pruitt is that he stays calm. You know, it's not too big for him at all. And the one thing I know about Luke, after playing 2 different positions in 2 games, right? Very, very sharp, you know, doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, MAs, there's a lot of technique mistakes that are being made, but not a lot of missed assignments. So he's earned our trust that way. And is he strong enough? He's going to be a lot stronger the longer he stays in this program. But will he fight you? Absolutely. He's going to fight every rep, every game snap. So we could live with that.
And how's Diego doing?
Diego's better. He worked the tolerance today, and we'll continue to elevate him. And we got to get him ready to play for us this week.
What percentage of true freshman linemen who arrive in the summer can come in and play every snap game one at one spot, and then every snap game one at this other spot and handle it?
Yeah, I'm sure the percentages are small, but in the phase of building a program, you're going to see probably a lot more of those kind of things, right? He's a guy that's ours. We recruited him, and we recruited him to give him an opportunity to play. And we knew that we were going to have to deal with some of the freshman stuff that they do in game situations. But I'm sure it's a small percentage of those guys that do it. But again, Coach Wisenhand does a phenomenal job of getting people ready. They believe in them. They trust them. And normally when you see that kind of player-coach interaction going on, guys get better. So it's a lot of credit to Coach Wisenhand and those guys buying in.
From a special teams perspective, when you're in a game like that and the offense is struggling, do you want to see more punt return, kickoff return, just opportunities to get some more energy and get better field position moving forward? Or?
Absolutely. The one thing that Rutgers presented was, from a kickoff return standpoint, that ball was deep in the end zone, so we knew we were gonna, have to sustain drives to put ourselves in a position to score. And anytime you're facing Aussie kickers, like our punter's an Aussie punter, they also have an Aussie punter, and we're running the same stuff on special teams. Our guy is from Rutgers. Both of our special team coaches are from Rutgers, and they're running the same exact system. So it's a little bit of a chess match going on right there. But an Aussie punter, when he feels no threat, holds that ball a little bit longer. And what that allows is coverage to get downfield, right? And so you saw on both sides of the football, not a whole lot of return yards happening because of that, and that's why we run what we run, and I'm sure that's why they run what they run, so it really does eliminate those opportunities in the return game when you have that style of kicker.
Stan, you guys had some self-inflicted wounds specifically on important down the distance situations.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
How do you limit those in the future?
Gotta be a lot more discipline, just the timing of which it happened, right? Just being intentional and being focused and locked in, just controlling the mind, and let the body do what it needs to do to win it down. It's a mental thing for us. We got to get stronger that way, but again, the pain that they exposed to me after that loss is something that, again, was good for me to see, because I know they're going to put their focus in on improving those things, and they have to improve. They absolutely have to improve, and we'll create situations in practice to make them more intentional in those situations, and we'll get better there.
Stan, like Taiwan, for instance, are those guys that are also part of that single-digit group or leadership council that comes in? Even though they're part of guys that have earned single digits, like game by game, are they part of that leadership council?
They are. They are.
What do you see from Norfolk State this weekend?
They play hard. They absolutely play hard, and again, no disrespect to Norfolk State. We continue to do the self-inflicting things that you asked about. Anybody and everybody could be a problem. We can only afford to play one opponent. We can't play ourselves and the opponent that's lined up on the other side of the ball. We got to learn how to really lock into us and eliminating the mistakes and getting our emotions under control and find a way to play 4 quarters of football. And guys, I'm gonna tell you, it got bad at there at times, and at times it was a terrible display of football. But these kids they're a really tight unit. They're struggling to get over this one. They wanted to be more competitive. They wanted to finish that game a lot better than the end result, and I know they're going to respond the right way, you know, and you know, we really have to lock in and know and understand what we're going against with Norfolk State, you know, but we can't handle Norfolk State if we keep doing the things that we're doing to hurt ourselves. So we really have to focus in on those.
Do you know Coach Odoms?
I do. I know of them. Yep. Yep.
How about, you know, it was kind of a bang play where Corey Yeoman got the
Yeah.
target, and then he's out this week, or half this week.
Yeah. You know, it was not a very smart play, you know, by Corey in that moment, and you know, they made a targeting call. It looked like it was a target to me, you know, but those things happen when kids are trying to do the right thing. In his mind, he thought he was doing the right thing. He thought the running back had broken the tackle and stayed on his feet, you know, and, you know, to his credit, that running back has, during the course of that game, broke some tackles and stayed on his feet, you know what I mean? So he was making sure that, you know, the emphasis was to get the running backs on the ground. He thought he was doing his job, not realizing that the back was down on contact. So it's unfortunate, but we'll have him ready to play second half of that ball game this week, excuse me.
Gave a lot of credit to the Rutgers tailback, but is there anything else you want to see more out of the rush defense, or you just feel like it was more just that tailback just knowing what he needs to do?
Yeah, again, you know, a back like that's going to get theirs, and you know, again, the first 3 quarters of the football game is a 1 touchdown game. You know what I mean? So, in spite of all of that, our defense, yeah, we bend in spots, but we didn't break in spots. I mean, there were times where they were lined up. Rutgers got the ball in poor field position on our part. Our offense put them in tough situations, and they got in the red zone a lot more than we had hoped. But our defense bowled up and kept them out of the end zone, forced field goals. So, again, there's a lot that we're going to build from that is positive, you know. But the times that we missed our gaps is where they took full advantage of us and exploited us. And those are the things that need to be fixed. So we're going to focus in on being more consistent about gap control defense.
We looked at the numbers. Yeah, the numbers when Chris Van Eckeren, right? You looked at numbers from Purdue. I thought he'd be booming the ball in the end zone half the time. You're not getting hurt. Maybe the ball's in the air a long time, but is he just not quite?
Well, he hurt us when the ball got kicked out of bounds for sure, right? You know, that hurt us. You know, they get the ball in great field position to start their drive, and you know, but yeah, we expect more out of our kicker. You know, we expect him to get the ball in the end zone. We're not seeing that right now. We need to figure out what the problem is with that.
How impressed are you with Dante's start to the season and how he's kind of been, you know, transfer coming in, he's already been one of the more reliable guys for EJ on offense so far this year?
Yeah, he is. He you know, we just need him to be consistent because he's a playmaker. He really is. He's a good football player, and you know, he's responsible for one of those 5 drops. You know, and in a game like that, we need him to be clicking on all cylinders. You know, but he's absolutely a guy that we trust, and you know, we need him to play at a high level all the time. All the time.
You have a question?
He answered it. That was going to be my question. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you.